All right, welcome to the Perpetual Conference. It's been a whole 3 years since you last saw us. We're all very grown, trust me. Very, very grown people. Not immature in the slightest, as you'll find out. But after 7th grade, we're now finding ourselves going into junior year of high school. And our opinions have changed on a lot of different subjects. And we're here to talk about them. Today, I've brought 4 guests, hopefully one who's going to be like a regular. Thomas is hopefully going to be sticking with me throughout the podcast journey. And we also have one return podcaster, but overall, 3 of us are new here. So beginning with Owen, why don't you say a couple things about yourself?
Hi, I'm Owen. I'm an incoming junior in high school, and I'm 16. I just got my license, so that's been great.
You can
Yeah,
drive?
Yes, I can drive. Yeah.
God, that's scary.
It is.
When
And
did you get your license? Because you didn't drive to my house, did you?
no, I got my license right after school got out, like the same day.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, and I've never been on this podcast before, so
Yeah. So have you driven a lot after you got your license?
yeah, I have a lot.
I hope you enjoy the freedom. Let's
Thank you.
move on
I
to
have
Naomi, also a new guest on the show.
Yeah, hello, I'm Naomi, a guest from the Child Labor Busters. We never actually posted, but we recorded and they're out out there somewhere.
And that's what matters, right?
That's what matters. And yeah, we haven't recorded one of those since 8th grade, so I haven't podcasted in a while, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, hopefully we can interest the Child Labor Busters in a future collaboration episode with hopefully more representatives.
Yes, we'd love to.
And that'll bring us to Thomas, who's hopefully going to be a regular sight on our episodes.
Hey, I'm Thomas. I am 60. I'm also going to be a junior. Also have my license. I've actually been around the Perpetual Conference since it started. I just never got to catch an episode, and I'm happy to be here. I have ran a few things with a third in the past, and I am excited to be continuing and starting off the episode with a revival.
Yeah. 3-year revival coming back when we're all 16, except for me. Screw all of you. You're old people. Speaking of which, that brings us to a very old person who's almost going to be 17 pretty soon, I think. Jackson, when do you turn 17? Wait, are you 17?
Hi, guys.
Are you 17?
I turned 17 in 4 days.
wow.
For real?
Oh!
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
funny
gosh.
story. Jackson, it doesn't have any Apple products, right? Like Jackson has an Android phone. I think he knows where I'm going with this. Jackson has an Android phone. He doesn't use Apple. I got this man for his birthday. I think it was your 15th birthday. Another friend and I pulled up to his house. We had a great time. We played a lot of darts, and I handed him an Apple gift card, which is of no use to Jackson at all. I did not do my research, but here we are. And in 4 days, as he says, he's turning 17. That old son of a gun. Tell us
I
a
don't
little
have
bit
it
about
anymore.
You don't have it anymore? Yeah.
I threw it away.
Good choices.
Hey? Dude.
Yeah, you should have given it to someone, Jackson. Be more considerate.
You could have gone to anybody on the
No.
street. Most people have an Apple product.
That's what I'm saying.
Except
Anyway,
Yeah,
you have
Jackson,
been
I'm
on the
special.
podcast before. You have
Yeah.
been on the idiot episode, the debut of this podcast with
Mhm.
what defines an idiot. And you and I were 2 idiots on that episode. We had a great time, and now you're back 3 years later. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I'm Jackson. I'm 16 years old. I'm going into junior year of high school. It's pretty cool. I like the color green.
Why green? I like the color green too. Like, I think it's my favorite color, but still why green?
Okay, you copycat. The color green is really cool because it's the color of grass and leaves. The color of it.
Yeah,
And it's
no,
nice.
I mean, I like green because it's like when traffic lights green, it means go, and I love speeding. It's probably why I don't have my license yet. But
Mhm.
that's why I love green, is because it
It's
lets me go
also-
zoom.
It's the color of money too. I like money.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, I like money.
Anyway, now y'all know who has joined us on the episode. All of you have given a small little introduction, so let's talk about what we're actually going to be doing today. The last episode, which we were planning 3 years ago, which ultimately led to the temporary demise of this podcast, was middle school relationships. And we tried so hard to get this to work. We at one point were close to inviting 4 different couples and me, the single Pringle, to have a total of 9 people on a podcast episode talking about their experience with relationships. And everybody kept breaking up. We had everybody in that group break up with their partner at the time. People dated within that group. People dated outside of that group. It was a mess, and middle school was not the time to get that done. However, 3 years later, relationships have stabilized a little more, and I don't know if they're better. That's something we'll talk about today. But it's officially time to make the episode. Just a big delay from when we thought we would make it. So, starting with the high school relationships, the difference between middle school relationships and high school relationships, the big question that I'm going to start with is, are they actually more serious?
It's
Jackson
interesting
says
'cause-
no. Why do you say
Well-
no? I disagree with you. I think they're definitely more serious now. Compared to like 8th grade.
To an extent.
What? He's walking away, which means, oh,
To an extent.
to an extent. Why is that?
Well, I mean,
See, because here's what I'm thinking.
sometimes.
I think I see less. I think I see less reckless relationships in high school than I did in middle school. You know,
That's true.
Mhm.
at least within the people that I'm around, I see less of just like people breaking up in 2 weeks.
I
I
think
see a
there's also
lot
just more
more
maturity.
people breaking up in 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not those week-long relationships anymore. There's actually some stability that comes with it, because I've seen a whole lot more people that are now more mature in relationships and are actually finding people that would suit them, and they aren't solely going to date someone just because they don't want to be single.
Here's a question though: Are we seeing more decent relationships just because of the relationship? Because there's an argument to be made that there's just a ton of relationships now, which makes more of them good ones, but a lot more of them bad ones. You know?
Sure. And with what comes with that is that people tend to show their true colors after a certain period of time. So, the relationship looks good, in my opinion. It looks good, right? And then you get into the relationship, and then as it starts to mature, some people start to show their true colors, which can lead to a toxic relationship. And so it really...
that's a good point. What do y'all think about, like, I think it's a lot easier to just be a fake person in high school.
Yeah.
Like, just pretend to be somebody that you're not, get into a relationship with somebody, and then they don't like the real you. I feel like that happens.
Wait, are you saying that you recommend that?
Oh.
Are you saying that you do that?
No,
I
no,
can't
no,
remember
no.
off of my
No,
jaw.
Dad.
What the heck?
Uh-oh.
I think that's very, very bad. I just think I see it more. I see a lot of it.
Really? Is
Mhm.
that like just in guys, or you see that in girls?
Both sides. Both sides.
Both?
I think a lot of I've seen it a lot to some degree. It's not like somebody's just being a completely fake person, but I think people like us and our age are a lot more likely to mask some details of their identity in order to appear more appealing to people. Does that make sense?
I guess I just think that's like part of life where like in order to I don't want to say survive in an environment because that sounds like really dramatic. But you know, like you want to mask some part of yourself because it just feels nice to have like, you know, you're somewhere with your friends, you're somewhere at school, you're somewhere with your family. Like I wouldn't really say that's being fake. But like I would say that when some of those masks come off when you're like close enough to someone, it could be a little rough. But like I feel like if that's how you're reacting, unless it's like really bad, unless you're really fake. But like otherwise, you're not ready for a relationship, in my opinion.
Yeah, because a good way to say it is a healthy relationship needs the people to adapt, right?
Yeah.
I think you'll agree with that. Adaptation and changing yourself a little bit is important, as long as that's more like improving your person and not changing parts of your personality to fit other people. Like if you're faking the type of music that you like
Oh
because
yeah.
of your crush, that's no, not good, right? But
You're a bot if you do that.
I agreed with Jackson. But if you're being nicer to people because you want them to accept you, I think that's a good thing. You should be nice to people in order to have that validation.
Yeah, I mean, changing yourself. People have this negative stigma around it, but some really good things can come from it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's nuanced, as long as you're improving yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the second you step into just being not you, it gets stressful. I would almost say it's more stressful for the person being fake, because now they're forcing themselves to uphold this identity that is not.
Like Dexter
Yeah.
Morgan.
Like who?
Dexter Morgan.
Morgan
Like from the show
Freeman?
Dexter? No, from the show Dexter.
Oh, wait, like the
Dexter.
serial killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't know enough about that show, but
I've never
seen,
watched it.
Watch it.
I've seen a little bit of the things. But I'll take that. That's not exactly the definition of a situationship. How would you define that's? I honestly I think that's a completely different thing from a situationship. How would you define a situationship?
When you're in a awkward relationship with somebody where you have like the problem is that you don't know if you're dating or not, and you don't know how to go on from there, is what I really see a situationship as.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I don't think it's about not knowing whether you're dating. I feel like the people will know if they're dating. I think it's more of a thing about,
Like if you don't know if you're going to.
yes,
Yeah.
like liking each other a certain amount at a certain time.
Yeah.
And because some of it's talking stage. Like not every talking stage is a situationship. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like not every talking stage, no.
But every situationship is a messy talking stage, I think.
I feel like it's like a step above talking stage. I feel like it's cranked up like a notch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole argument is one person thinks that they're this far along, and the other person somewhere else along that timeline. You know,
Yeah, I agree with that.
that's the whole thing. And have you ever seen anybody get out of a situation? I think every situationship I've seen has collapsed pretty quickly. But I assume it's possible.
Yeah, I guess like I feel like I've with every situationship I've seen, like I don't know if you would call it a situationship if it actually worked out. Like I feel like they would just
Yeah.
call it talking stage and they would just like deny that there was an awkward stage. Because I genuinely never heard of that.
I've never seen somebody.
I guess that's a
I don't
good
recall.
point. It's only a situationship if it fails, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the heroes write the story. Like if it works out, nobody's gonna say that it was a situationship.
Yeah.
The hero write the story.
Heroes write the story.
Well, okay.
Or
So
do-
now let's talk. Do you think situationships are more common now than they are in adult lives?
Yeah, maybe.
I think well, it's complicated. It could be complicated for both ages, just at different situations. I I I think it still exists. I think it still happens just as frequently because some people just don't know how to express themselves to really get themselves out of a situationship.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, being an adult gives you more things to disagree on.
That's
know?
true.
I feel
yeah, I
like
agree.
you, in high school, a lot of the variables are taken care of for you.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're an adult, there's more things to consider. Like,
Yeah.
where are you going to establish a home? Even
Yeah, that's true.
what
I
if
feel
one-
like
one-
as like one door closes, another one opens for all kinds of problems that happen. Like there's different ones in high school, but then as those problems close, you get more problems once you transfer into adulthood.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I agree with that because
Yeah.
I think there's more situationships in high school, but in adult dating, the situationships go down, but other issues become part of the scene, like
Money.
money, like
Money is a huge problem, yeah.
yeah. How many kids to have, bring in for that matter, right?
Even like
Um,
marriage, like being like, oh, are we gonna get married? When are we gonna get married? Like you don't have to worry about that in high school.
That's true.
Yeah. And then
Honestly,
also
that
I
gets me-
think like in high school you're so confined to like your group and then also like how people perceive you and like if I break up, I don't know, with this person, like how much drama is that gonna create? I feel like in adulthood you can kind of just like ghost people. And it's significantly less drama.
Yeah.
Not
don't-
ghost people, sorry. And it's not like I'm planning to do that. I'm just saying that, okay?
I have a lot of questions
I just
about what
I don't think ghosting someone after a situationship is like really the way to go. I think when you're an adult, I think you should communicate more clearly and let your intentions be known. I don't think that you should just ghost people out of the blue because if anything, that's just gonna cause drama with other people. But then you just get a get out of jail free card essentially because it's not affecting you.
Yeah, sorry. That was
That's
just
my
something-
take on ghosting.
Isn't
I
that also
only
like
ghost people
a
when they
Brook
don't
and
give me
Jubal?
respect.
Yeah.
I'm too scared to ghost people in high school. That's crazy. I mean, I guess I don't really have any ghost anyway, but like still, if I did have someone to ghost, I couldn't do it, you know?
You said something about like not thinking about if you break up with someone, how much drama is this going to cause? Whereas in the adult world, if you like break up with somebody, it's less of a big deal. I don't
Yeah.
think that's true. I disagree. I think there's a lot more drama caused when a relationship starts than when it ends. I feel like people don't really care when a relationship ends.
Well, yeah, but like you have to think that like you're gonna see your ex at school every single day, and the only way that's happening in adult life is like if you're neighbors or if you work with them, which is a mess in itself. So, like I guess like how other people perceive you, I guess that doesn't really work. That's true.
Yeah, like the whole thing with don't date your coworkers.
Yeah.
I feel like every relationship in high school is that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good point.
That is true, yeah.
Like
I can see that.
especially if you have a seating chart, dude, and if you date somebody that
Oh.
sits next to you,
Oh my gosh, I remember
and
hearing a
y'all break
story.
up the next week.
Yep.
Oh boy.
I heard a story from my chem teacher, and he was talking about how you can't switch out of your chem partner once you choose it, you're locked in. And he was talking about a boy and a girl who were in a relationship and were dating at the time, decided to become chem partners, and like a couple months later they break up, and they have to still be chem partners. They can't transfer out, and so they had to do chemistry with each other, being partners while being broken up, which is so rough.
Yeah, don't lab partner with the person you're dating. That's not.
Life lesson, folks.
No, I agree. That's pretty tough. So yeah, maybe when we grow up, let's not date our coworkers. Let's make
I'll drink to
let's
that.
make that a generalization. But focusing on the social side of things,
Mhm.
I was thinking about people, as they say, shooting out of their league. Because I feel like a lot of high school relationships sometimes matter more about the surrounding. This is sort of playing off what Naomi said. The surrounding environment and what people will think about the relationship rather than the person itself.
Mhm.
You know, like if you people might be compelled to reject a person or compelled to date a person based off of how other people will perceive them after the fact, you know?
I
Mhm.
think people
Yeah.
in high school care way too much about how others perceive them than what they should really do, because as you said, there's a lot of people that'll just do things based off of, oh, how will people think about this? Then they won't do it instead of really thinking about themselves in the first place. I've seen that.
Yeah. And then that goes back to our previous thing about how sometimes thinking about how others perceive you is good, because if people think you're a bad person and you improve based, you know, like sometimes it's important to acknowledge what others perceive of you. So
Mhm.
I think there's a balance. You can't just say like, you know, go on your own route and be your own person. It doesn't matter what others people think. I don't agree with that philosophy all the way.
Mhm.
I think it's important to take into account what your personal reputation is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That brings us
And-
to the couples that break up and get back together. What are your
Oh my
thoughts on
gosh.
that?
Oh.
That's it's rough because I've seen that happen also with friends in the group where they have broken up and then they get back together. It just feels awkward. I think that is awkward after going through all of that. But if they are ready to come back together, then that's their situation. But I think that's just really awkward and weird to do.
Hey, my parents did it for a weekend. They were broken up in high school. And then
Well, your
they got
parents
back
are
together.
different, buddy.
Oh my gosh, your
Yeah,
parents are high school
your
sweethearts.
parents were also dating since
Yeah.
like what, 7th grade?
No, but
No, high school,
Oh.
just high school.
yeah, they got engaged in high school though.
Wow.
Engaged?
Mhm.
In high school.
Yo, how did their parents let them do that? That's cool though. I won't judge, but dang, they gave birth to some good children. That's
Thank
all
you.
I'll say.
What'd you get on your PSAT? I'm just...
But that's crazy. Like I would not let my child get engaged in high school. You know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah. I would. Well, okay. Yes, and it would really depend on like how long they are in a relationship for. Obviously, I wouldn't really. I don't think I would. It depends on the situation, but I don't really think I would let my child get engaged in high school that early, unless if you really know what you're getting into and you're ready to commit that hard. Like a relationship is a whole different. Like boyfriend girlfriend. That's getting committed, but then getting engaged is a whole different can of worms, and
That is.
Yeah.
that is crazy. That it worked out for your parents, good for them.
Yeah,
But
it worked
that's
out.
just,
That's true.
but that's crazy for me to think about. That that there could be kids my age in about like a year from now, or like my age and like a year from now that could get engaged, and that's crazy.
That
That's a
is-
possibility. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's a possibility, and that's crazy.
But as for breaking up for a week, this might be a hot take, but I feel like good relationships sometimes, a lot of the times, have a big blow like that, where you know there's a bit of a disconnect and like a big disagreement.
Yeah.
Which I think is good for the relationship because it teaches the people how to grow together. you know, as a bond. Like, what are your thoughts on like high school relationships where the two of them break up for 4 hours or something?
Break up for like 4 hours and get back together.
4 hours.
I think, like, I think that just shows insecurity. I think that shows that.
Dang.
Okay, well,
Crazy.
I wouldn't say that. I feel like that there could be a
Tommy's
disagreement.
judgy.
Well, I'm just saying that
Tom has
shows
strong opinions.
that I stand on my opinions.
That is, you know, I would say in high school, I mean, I saw a couple people this year break up for very small periods of time. Anyway, and I say this all in good intent. Like, I love all the people that I think about.
Wait, who? Hold on. Who are you talking about?
But anyway,
that's what I'm
You
saying.
can edit this out.
let's end the cut here. But so like, let's go with you, Naomi. What are your thoughts on it?
What? Don't call me out. Wait. Okay, my thoughts on what?
What are we even talking about?
You know, when you see what's the sort of the connotation you get. You know, when you get a couple that breaks up for like a couple hours, it's because for me, I've changed. I used to think that was like, you know, that's a terrible, immature high school thing. But now I think about it and I'm like, you know, that makes sense. Sometimes that level of disconnect happens. And then if you're able to come back from that, then you've grown. And that's good for the relationship.
Okay.
But some people don't agree.
My opinion on that is, if you broke up that quick to begin with and like I'm done, and then you just hop right back on, sure, that shows that someone can amend something and you can come back together and show growth. Yes, but the fact that you had to say I'm done, I'm not gonna give it another whirl, I'm not gonna try to stay, and then you leave, and then you come.
Volatility. That's a good point.
It shows volatility, and then you leave, and then you just come right back. I think that situation would be a whole lot different if you were to say, I need a break, not a breakup. I need to distance myself, and then you talk about it with your boyfriend or girlfriend. You talk to them about it, and that shows growth, and that shows not as much volatility.
Yeah, like when I see people have disagreements and they immediately go to Instagram notes and write single, like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Instagram notes since those 3 years, man. I think that's been the worst invention since when we last talked.
I love it.
I love it so much.
Number one way to rage bait me is putting something like that on your note. I will freak out.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's great.
I'm being so dead serious. Every time somebody posts something that's like so ominous and like nope, and it's like, I can't believe you would say that about me. I hold down the note, I hit mute notes, and I move on with my life.
This girl PMO.
I kind of like it might fill me with rage, but like, come on.
I looked at my muted notes section, and it says I have like 13 people muted, and I didn't even realize that, but I have like 13 people muted because they're like, I can't believe he did that to me, or girl, you talk to me like that, and I don't care.
The ones that get me are the, you know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. Those ones too. It's like, you know who you are. I saw somebody on notes saying you're too you're too ugly to be acting that pretty.
Yeah,
On
Yes,
notes.
I saw that. Wait,
I saw that. That was crazy.
I know
saw
who
that.
that's about too, and I was just like, wow, this is like that. This is aggressive.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think that's
D1
immature.
haters.
Once you get to that point, that's immature.
Yeah, and I literally posted on my notes that day when I saw that. I'm like, we got some D1 haters on this app. Goodness gracious.
I'm gonna sidetrack for a second. The Naomi hypothetical.
Yeah.
Naomi, are you still there?
I am. Do you want me to say something?
Yeah.
What's your hypothetical?
What? The boss versus you started off really well.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, would you rather like this also goes off of like workplace romances, but like, Do you think it would be better to date your boss or to be the boss of someone and then like date them?
Be dating your
I didn't
boss.
think that's where that was going.
Cause you're okay. So actually have a answer to this. I'd rather be the worker dating the boss because the boss is supposed to be in charge of all the other people, and I wouldn't want to be in a position where I am on such a high pedestal and I have to be the one setting the standard and setting the bar, and then I start dating a coworker that's below me. I I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't even want to date a coworker in that respect. And then if something messy happens and everything falls apart, I don't want to be that center of attention. I don't want to be setting that bar, that standard by being a boss. I'd rather be the worker doing it. I'd rather not be in any of these situations, but if I had to choose,
that-
I'd
I
rather
think
be
that
the
goes without
worker.
saying, Ronan.
Just a
I mean,
preface.
I think I agree with that. I feel like the boss has a responsibility to shut it down. I feel like the worker is allowed to, it's
Yeah, and if I
out of the two of them, one has a responsibility to make sure things.
Yes.
Owen, do you have any thoughts on that?
if I'm dating my boss, I'm on my boss's good side. That's good, right?
That's true.
Okay, so wait.
You
so-
get a raise.
I don't think Owen agreed with the I'd rather not be in either of these situations. I think Owen.
Owen's got a
plotting
plan.
something.
Owen,
He's
are you gonna
considering.
sleep up the chain?
No.
It's crazy. Sleep up the chain.
Anyway, keep going, Owen. You have
That's all I had
thoughts.
to say.
That's if I'm a worker dating a boss. I'm on the boss's good side,
Next thing you know, you're the
Great.
chief executive officer.
Jackson, do you agree with that statement?
About what?
Are you the kind of guy to sleep up the chain?
Where's my money, Mr. Krabs?
Mr. Krabs.
Let's not take this into
idea.
prostitution. Let's stepping away from prostitution. Let's talk about Owen-
Okay.
Prostitution if I'm doing it for free.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Nah, that's called being a hoe.
Oh my goodness.
God.
I think we've lost Owen temporarily.
He's back. He had
Alright,
to take a
Owen's
lap
back.
after that one.
Let's step away from the hoes. The loud couples. So I feel like in
Oh
this
my
day and
god!
age,
Are you talking about those people? Do you know that couple in school where they're always making out, bro? Always
Yes.
in the hallway.
Which one? It's not one. It's not one.
It's
Okay,
many.
I don't know. There's one specifically that
It's
I'm
few.
thinking about. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
I've seen
gosh.
a lot of.
I've seen these the people, and they're all in that one area. Like before school starts, they're all in that one area, and I don't know why they
Yeah.
gotta make it so public. I don't like that. It's just it's school's not the place to be doing that. That's like doing that in the workforce with a coworker. That's just weird. Like
I've made
you're
the
here to
mistake of-
learn.
You're like
I've made
you're
the
like
mistake of going to the bathroom during bear time, and wow.
Oh
no.
wow! Never again.
I think that's crazy. I think that's
Mhm.
freaky. Shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, okay, listen, I've obviously I've never been in a relationship, so I wouldn't know. But I would be fine at the very, very most holding hands, in a lunch line or something. Okay, but anything else, if you try to kiss me in a hallway, no.
Yeah.
What goes through your
I can't fathom in a school. First of all, that's just so unsexy too. In a
Mhm.
school,
Yeah.
literally.
I don't care what you do in your own time. That's your preference. People are at different points in their romantic careers, but I don't care. School hand holding is the max, if not too much. Sometimes I see hand holding in lunch lines, and you can see that they're making a scene out of it, and I'm like, yeah, chill out.
I'm
even that's
the
too much.
person at school that I visibly cringe at people who hold hands in the hallways. I'm sorry. I see people holding hands in the hallways, and I'm just like, that's just such a. It feels like you're like a billboard,
I
and
don't
you're
mind
trying to
that.
display that. I don't.
I disagree. Lunch line for some reason is too much for me, but hallways are fine. Like
Why
lunch
should
line's
people
weird.
in the hallway just hold hands? I don't know. That's just it makes me visibly
Yeah,
cringe because I just
I
look at
guess
it.
that's
It looks
I
like
guess
you're
that's
trying too
different for
hard.
different people.
It comes off to me as like you're trying too hard.
But it's
Guys,
like depends. Like if you're holding hands and you're like standing a couple like inches apart, like if you're standing far enough apart and you're taking up the entire hallway holding hands. I'm doing a podcast.
When you
Yeah,
him
okay,
on.
yeah, and you're taking up the entire hallway holding hands. Like none of that. But if you're like close together, then it's fine. It's dare I say cute, okay?
yeah,
Yeah.
guys,
if you
I
see,
think
if
I'm more
you're-
talking about the people that take up the hallway that are trying to not like the people that are like
that's true.
that don't like display it too much. Like, hey, they're holding hands, that's fine. But like the people that are like, all right, we're we're gonna take up this entire hallway one way or another. That's a different thing, and I visibly
Yeah.
cringe at because it's like that's what's trying too hard.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's sort of what I meant with like loud. If
Yeah.
people are less worried about being close with their partner and it's more about like public display of
Mhm.
affection,
Like
that-
thing is,
PDA.
like, couples, you don't know if it's public display. It looks like they're just freaky. Like they're just so freaky. They can't spend like 6 hours not doing whatever they're doing. I'm not going to describe a single thing, but oh my god.
We've had some crazy stuff happen at our school. I know like schools have their
Yeah.
own kind of lore thing, but we've had some interesting cases here. That's just
So, well, I'm gonna pull us away from the freaky couples for a little bit, going back to the couples that were around more,
Mhm.
and more normal, dare I say, like
More normal.
normal high school couples.
more average, yeah.
I've seen the friends always play a role. Friend groups are always involved. It's never
Ultimate
one person.
wingman.
It's never a one person on one person thing. There's all the group chats are involved, all the people are
Yes.
involved. I've seen instances of friends creating a dream relationships, and I've seen instances of friends ruin like relationships that could have been fine,
Which is kind of weird because I've had people who have approached me, right? And I don't really vocalize that in a group chat until it's all said and done. I don't usually like okay, most of the times that people have approached me and like women have talked to me, there have not been friends that have like played a part in that. It's just been me. That's not the same for
I think
everybody.
that
That's
comes
not the
down to
same for
trust,
everybody.
though. Yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of people will trust their friend group to like, hey, here's what's going on with my life. I'm more so talking about like the friends that try to take too big of a role in it,
Mhm.
and often
The
end
third
up
wheel.
ruin. I don't even mind the third wheeling, Like personally, I'm all for wingmaning. You guys disagree? I'm
So we're putting wingman in the same category as third wheel now.
Oh, I wasn't. That's a good point. Third
I've
wheel
been a
is.
third wheel.
I feel like that's a different.
That's like
That's
going on a date with the couple and just sitting
Yeah.
there.
That's their own thing. I'm more so talking about actively involving themselves within the relationship. I think I'm cool with wingmanning to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You are we on the
Then
same
there's-
page there, or like?
But then sometimes you're just too much in their business and trying to because I've seen people who wingman way too hard and try to be all up in their business and not letting it breathe for a second because they want to it's almost like they're also in the relationship too sometimes.
They want the relationship more than the people that would be
Yep.
in the relationship.
Which
I've
poses
definitely
the next
seen people
question.
get like forced. I've definitely seen like forcing of like, hey, you should date this person. Like this person would be perfect for you. Like, shut off your inner thoughts. But this person is great for you. You should do this. And like that gets messy because sometimes neither person wants to be there.
Yeah.
The friend groups are just getting a kick out of it. That's
Oh
terrible.
my gosh. Yeah, I've seen dude, I've seen so many awkward encounters happen because of that. They're like, you should try this, and then there's like a whole hangout set up, and then they just awkwardly look at each other and
see.
move
Here's
on.
what I've seen a lot of, like, probably more than normal. That might be a high school thing.
Mhm.
It tends to be. I think it's fine as long as the people are actually, and it all comes down to personal preference. As long as the people are actually talking. It's bad when it's like the friend groups are having a hangout and it's two people just like awkwardly sitting. You know.
Hey guys,
And
this is really familiar. I don't know.
what?
I'm nothing.
It's okay. Play that back. Play the recording back.
If you've got people, if you've got the two of them there, and they're also like, "Hey, how about that?" You know, then
Oh
and
my gosh.
and then they're having a great time. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I personally enjoy watching it.
I've
hate
been
being
in
involved in
that
it.
situation where I've been the person at the hangout where I tried to hang out with a girl, and it's just been such a like an uncomfortable time because it felt a little forced by outside factors just pushing in, and it felt really awkward because we
Yeah,
were
like
at
when
like
a group of like 6 people go to Slackers, you know.
yeah like that, exactly like that. How'd you know?
Yeah.
Like when
You're
you're at
like-
Slackers and you're walking around
when
and
you're
you
at
just
Slackers
try to
and
make
you're
small
just
talk.
sitting down on the bench next to the pool table.
Dude,
And
that wasn't even
uh,
small talk. That was petite talk. I can't
Yeah.
even lie, man. It was
that's
so hard. It was like talking to concrete. It felt
And
so
that's true,
awkward.
and it might not even be that the two people suck at talking. A lot of the time, that's what friends say. It's like,
Yes.
you two, like, you're terrible at talking to people, you know, and that's often not what it is. It's honestly just the two people don't like each other.
I think it's just sometimes you overthink a lot, and as you're overthinking, someone's trying to talk to you, and then you just don't know how to respond because first off, you're nervous and anxious, and then you're just overthinking everything. That's what I do. Is like my mind
Yeah.
runs at like 80 miles an hour. I think of so many things at once, and so sometimes when people talk to me, and like when I was in that uncomfortable spot, I just don't know what to say back.
Well, I mean, I guess we can call that the friend groups that are great at communicating, but the friends
people.
that aren't.
Yeah.
What about the couples, or what about, I won't say couples yet. What about people that are great at communicating over social media? What do y'all think about the sliding into DMs dynamic?
Online dating, or you're
I'm-
just talking
Oh,
better?
I wouldn't say online dating. I wasn't going
Okay.
there yet. I wasn't going there
No,
yet. I
not
was just
online dating, just
thinking
people
about, like,
having like the gut to actually go into other people's DMs and start the
you know, like,
conversation, right?
reply to your story, hey, you look cute, and then, you know, get into
I've done that
conversation.
once. I've done that once. I've done that once. I did that
No.
once,
Gotta go
and
there.
it resulted in such dry conversation. And never again. There was a girl that had a song that I liked on her story, and I was trying to
I
get a
remember
conversation going. Yeah, you do. And
wasn't even-
it
But you
just
didn't do the like, hey, you look cute thing though.
that. I thought you did
No.
well, though.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
did
hey,
that.
you look cute is an exaggeration.
that's like a step up. That's like no. I couldn't.
But
do that.
overall, sliding into the DMs, starting conversations there. My personal opinion is that it works and it's great, and people
Yes.
are happy.
You're like really scared of fake people. You mentioned it a couple
No,
times.
That was just the first thing that came to mind when I was
Alright.
thinking about the other perspective. But like, I think it works. I like the concept of sliding into somebody's DMs and then starting a good, healthy conversation. You know, I feel like I've seen a lot of good experiences come out of that. But what do you think of, like, it changes, like, with the details. What do you think of, like, Tinder and dating apps?
Ew.
Ew?
Ew. What the heck?
Why ew?
I think Tinder.
Have you
helps a
used
lot.
Tinder before?
No,
I don't.
but just
have
what's your
no-
opinion on it? Yeah.
I also think ew, but why?
No, I don't know if it's ill. I don't know. I just like me personally, I wouldn't use it, but it's not like someone uses Tinder and I'm like, you idiot. Like, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know. But
I like Tinder because
I-
it's an easy way to get to know people that actually suit you. It's a good way to find people that have the same interests as you.
I feel like people who end up in Tinder though are great.
Yeah, that's not always the case. I think it's just people that are too afraid to like go out and actually try to establish a relationship with someone. I feel like it's
if
just
you get down to Tinder though. It's just,
that's true. It feels
just
like
don't-
it feels like a last resort.
Gray
Tinder just
alert.
kind of feels like a last resort.
Am
when
I
you-
wrong,
yeah.
Jackson?
Gray Lou's just a crazy
Like, tell me if
way
you
to
disagree.
describe it. No,
I don't.
I can agree
think
with
No,
that.
the max they can be is like uncommon.
I feel like
Yeah, yeah, and that's the good stuff, you know. And then of course a lot of dating apps have like the male female disbalance too, where it's like
Mhm.
a billion males and like 2 females. So
Mhm.
and that makes things just less effective too.
I f-
Overall,
I
I'd
feel
rather
like
meet people in person or on.
yeah,
I'd much rather Instagram sliding into the DMs. Hey, you look cute, instead of the.
because it's actually people you know. It's actually people that you know around
It's actually
your
people
circle.
you know.
It's and if it's not someone you truly know, it's like an acquaintance because it's people that actually know that person. There's other people that know that person, and it's a good
Yeah.
way. I just feel like Tinder's a last resort for many cases. I would like to get like a relationship that's like natural, not influenced by like a dating app or something like that. Like actually starting the conversation,
Swipe left,
gathering a
swipe
connection
right.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, and
I-
would you use a dating app?
I don't know. I mean,
Hinge,
honestly,
Bumble, Tinder, Grinder. I think Grinder is one, right?
Oh
isn't
my gosh.
Isn't Grinder the one for gay people? Or is
Yeah.
that-
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
I think the best way to I mean, I don't know. I don't have any personal experience, but
But you
the
go
best
on.
way to get into a
Mm.
relationship is after being friends. So that Tinder's kind of not that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know, I just think that like online dating is very different because I know Thomas said earlier that he doesn't really like consult on his friends when he's like talking. And I don't know if the rest of you guys are like that, but like for me as a girl and then also with I guess the entire other women population that I know, like they're very involved. Very involved.
You
And
know
that's
what?
like
The
that's
council.
not only with dating, it's like with everything in life. So it's not like personal, I guess just with guys. But like yeah, they're just very involved. And I enjoy that. I like having my backup. But like obviously if I need space then I will, but usually like I don't know. It's nice to have other opinions. That's what they're there for. Well, okay.
Mhm.
That's not what they're there for. But
That's all your friends are for, Naomi.
yeah.
If you okay, so I actually this is nothing against you guys, but there's one person that knows about all of like my like me communicating with like women or like dating relationship kind of conversation, like all that stuff that happens to me. I don't tell you guys, but I do tell Asil immediately as it happens. Send this message right to Asil. Yeah, he's my best friend. Of course I would.
You know, this podcast.
You know,
is
Asil's
not
been in a
made for
relationship,
talking.
right?
It made for
Asil
it was
is
made
a
for
person who's been in a
silence.
relationship.
Yeah, hopefully we see Asil on the podcast though.
Yeah.
But speaking of social media and relationships, what about posting your partner? You know,
I think that's
It's like
fine.
a hard
something
launch?
is it something to be worried of, like if you're post you, or
No.
is that
I
thinking
think
too
if you get permission, from your partner, that's perfect. That's totally acceptable.
far? No, I'm thinking the other way. I'm thinking your partner isn't posting you on their social media, and you're worried about it, because I've seen that.
I
Well,
wouldn't
does the
guess personally.
does the person post on social media often? Like, are they like purposely leaving them out?
That's a good question to ask. I feel like this is more thinking about somebody that's posting regularly, like maybe once a month ish. You know,
I mean, I
That's
don't think it's
regular?
something.
I guess that is regular.
I wanted to give like a.
I think my last post was like 7 months ago.
So not Thomas, like at least once a month.
So I think what I would
Preferably.
do in that situation, I would say I don't know what's going through that person's mind, so I could just ask. I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. I'm gonna let things go their course,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna bring it up. Like, hey, I see that you have like a. Well, I'm not gonna sound like needy like that. I'm just gonna bring it up. It's something that needs to be brought to attention because communication is key in relationships. So I think if you just bring it to the attention of the person, they may not have even known, and then you just
Yep.
bring it up. And but if that truly bothers you, then yeah, I mean, but it wouldn't bother me, so I wouldn't really care.
I don't think that like if someone isn't posting you, I don't think that should matter at all.
Mhm.
Just like that doesn't make any sense to be mad over that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like some people get insecure that they think their partner's insecure about dating them. You know, they're like, if you don't post me, do you like? Oh, this reminds me of another hypothetical. Would you rather have a partner that treats you like a gem, personally?
I would I would rather that. That'd be great.
treats you like a gem personally, but outside they are like, oh yeah, I have this ugly, disappointing,
No,
not nice,
What the other
not
one?
funny wife.
no.
Or would you have somebody that's like ruthless to you in person, but outside they treat you like a gem, and they're like, I have found my dream girl. You know, like which
That's
One
which
is
both
side?
stuff.
number one is a toxic relationship. Number two is an abusive relationship. So if you really think about it, if you're
Yeah, do you
ruthless
go
to someone in
toxic or abusive?
person, but then uh, listen, so the first one is a toxic relationship. If you think about it, because you're being so nice to the person, but then you're talking bad about them outside, that means you're insecure, and then they can learn from friends and understand that you talk terrible about them, which can be a toxic relationship. You're being
It doesn't really
toxic
matter if
about
they.
that person. Yes, I do think it
It
matters
doesn't really
because
matter if they treat you well.
Oh, it doesn't.
it
Oh,
it
What?
means
so
it means
you'd
No,
rather
hold on,
go
hold on.
for. Oh, and you'd rather go for. It's fine how they treat you behind closed doors, but if they treat you like a gem outside.
Well, here's the thing. If it's only these two options,
I'm picking the
you can
first
have
one. I'm
someone that
picking.
genuinely does love you. That's what I'm assuming.
Mhm.
But just says they don't for some stupid reason.
They
Or
Well,
might be insecure about you because
that's what I'm saying.
of
Is
social
that
reasons, right? Like what people will think about them if they say that they love you, but in reality they do. You know?
yeah, but that
so?
doesn't care what your significant other says to other people.
Say that again.
Does it matter if what your significant other says to other people about you?
I do
Oh,
because
What
I
are
so
they
think
you
it
just
shows a
saying?
lot
Well,
about the
yes, it does.
person.
It does. It does in real life. Never mind. But
Wait, what are they saying? Like are they saying like I hate this bee, like I wish I like wasn't with them.
Yeah,
They're ruining
to
my
their
life?
friends, they're like, "Oh, I ended up with the chopped."
What?
I
Just down talking,
crazy.
like talking down
Yeah, they're
upon someone.
like they're like, "How's your girlfriend?" And then the guy's like, um, "Terrible as always," or something stupid.
Terrible.
Yeah, just a complaint. Well, if I had to choose between the two, I would choose number one and then break up with them because it shows that
Oh
how.
yeah.
No, listen, because it shows
No,
how
I'm agreeing.
that person's bipolar. First off, second off, also
I
no.
think-
Let me talk. Let me finish. I promise you
Yeah.
can talk. All right. The first one, it shows how insecure and how childish that person is because you can love someone and then talk bad about them behind their back, and that shows how you really are. You will show how you really are. If you were actually a really nice and pure person, you would be nice to them and then talk nice about them in front of your friends. But then no, you're not doing that. But I wouldn't want to be in an abusive relationship like the second one where they're terrible to you and then be like, oh yeah, she's great, and then be terrible to the person. These are both terrible situations, but I would not want to be in an abusive relationship where the person is so terrible to them and then downplaying it to to your friends and be like, oh yeah, it's fine. No, I'd
Mhm.
rather be in the
Yeah.
toxic one.
When you put it that, I mean, I would rather be with an insecure person than an abusive person.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Honestly, I might have to go with the abusive. I'm gonna be honest.
What?
So-
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's so much worse. Like, at least when they're mean to me, I know that they don't like me. But like, if they're nice to me and then they're mean, like they're like, oh, this B, like I have to hear that from other people. Like, bro, he was talking crap about you, and then like, no, that sounds terrible.
So then, like, he might not even like you, but you don't get like the pure. You can't
Yeah.
just know. That's
Yeah,
a good point,
I'll always
too.
be questioning. You know, like I feel
Sure.
like I would hesitate more to break up with the toxic person than the abusive person. You know.
Mm.
That's a good point. Jackson, are you which boat do you fall in? Abusive or insecure, buddy?
Insecure. I think that's the easiest question of all time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
no,
saying.
but
Like-
see,
like-
Naomi makes a good point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I do.
It's destroying if your partner is like.
What
Oh,
the-
she's a kind person.
You don't know.
Wait, we're not talking like physically abusive, right? Okay, that's. I feel like that's a
not,
different
not
story.
physically abusive.
I feel like emotionally abusive is just as worse. It's just as bad as
Just as
physically.
worse. Yeah,
Yeah, just as worse.
that's a good one. That's a.
Yes,
think
I will
let's,
forget when
let's
we're
take a
when
second
editing.
to talk about red flags since we're already talking about insecure and
Mhm.
abusive people. Owen, would you like to start us off with a red flag that you have?
Let me think.
Let you read, you mean?
Yeah. I think red flag would be inability to communicate, or like making unnecessary hurdles for communication.
So, before we recorded, Owen said, "Is it bad that my red flags are green flags?" And I struggle to see how being bad at communicating
No,
is a
what I
green
mean
flag.
is the inverse of that would be a
The
green
inverse
flag.
would be good communicator
Oh,
with open
I thought you
communication.
meant like they were the same trait.
No.
No, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, inability to communicate. I'm gonna start off by saying this is one that I suck at. Like if I had to give myself
We
like
know.
red flags and green flags about me, I suck at communication.
We know.
I think it is pretty bad.
I think it's because like you have like schizophrenia, so we never know what you mean.
Sorry,
That's
I
a nice way to
crazy.
put it.
Sorry.
I wait. So I have imaginary friends. Wait, which part of schizophrenia?
Because you talk
just-
like you talk like a schizophrenic.
I talk like a schizo. Wait, explain, elaborate.
No, I can
We can
understand
elaborate.
that. 'cause
You want me to
just-
like
you
bully
say
you
the
right
most
now?
random things. Like
I don't.
the other
I mean-
day you asked what you should name your child, your female child. That was so random. Like
That's
Exactly.
No, that's not.
That was-
That's not what Naomi's saying. I don't think so.
No.
I think it is. You literally said that you were at my workplace, and then you changed the topic. Said you ate Dubai chocolate.
Not
Completely
being
changed the
bad.
conversation.
That's not schizo. That's not even. Okay, that's schizo.
Schizo.
That's
I think you're
schizo.
coping.
Listen, when I
It's
say
not-
schizo, I say that in the most vast thing. You're thinking too specifically. That's another.
Yeah, that is pretty schizo.
flag
But
to
that's
have.
not being bad at communicating. I wouldn't say red flag. That's just creepy.
What?
Wow, that is a red. Being creepy is a red flag.
I think our next
We're putting
I
this
don't-
one to a reel.
I don't know. I feel like that's a different red flag. Being schizo is a different problem. I don't think that's the same as being bad at communication. You know.
Well, I have some red flags and green flags prepared. So I have, for me, I think that controlling behavior is a red flag for me. I don't like it when people are so controlling, like a control freak of everything. Like, I need you to do this, do this, do this, do this, all for their personal gain. Where did he go? I'm just I don't like controlling behavior because it sets up the relationship to be like, I have to follow this person's orders 24/7, and then if you don't, then it becomes really toxic. Oh, he's coming back. Da 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 da. Anyway, as I was
Alright,
so rudely left on.
The last thing I heard was controlling behavior. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna. I wouldn't put that on my flag list just because I feel like it's so uncommon. Like I don't think you see.
It's kind of common in some people to be control freaks.
Are we
kidding? Serious?
Are we kidding? Yo. He just dropped that and left. Are you kidding? Okay, yeah, I think it's very common.
Nah, I'm waiting. I'm not gonna be
You're gonna
disrespected
wait?
2 times, bro. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on me. You better not be leaving again. No,
Naomi
no.
disagreed with me. I heard the last thing I heard before I left this time was like you were not. I don't think you see controlling behavior at this stage in life.
All I'll say is I've seen it in almost every single relationship. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wait, no, sorry. Not with my parents' relationship, sorry.
Okay.
not with my parents. Okay,
Did
but
your mom just
with
walk into
every
your
high
room or
school
something?
relationship.
Mom just looks over and gives it like a death stare.
Mom just
Yeah,
walks
my mom
over and
looked
she's
over
like,
and was
sorry,
also
not my
weird.
parents.
Matter of fact, my mom.
Wait, are we serious though? Controlling in every.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Hold on. What
Yes.
relationships have I
There
been
are some.
I'm
there are
pretty
some
sure.
people that are so controlling. Like, I need you to cut ties with
Girl,
this person
you're around
because
bad
I
people.
don't like them. That's controlling.
Okay, wait. I want to hear what controlling behavior have you seen? Like in a vague.
It's
Stop-
very just like
Stop being friends with this person because I don't like them.
Whoa.
I don't see
Okay,
that though.
I've never seen that.
When did that ever happen?
I've seen that.
I haven't seen that.
Okay, wait. What have you seen? Every relationship is crazy.
Okay, wait. Okay, not every relationship. I
gotta
literally
go.
just kind of like.
You gotta go.
bye.
Well,
Oh,
that's-
just like
sorry.
Magic Exit.
But wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
what-
Okay, I was
what have you
exaggerating. It's not every relationship I've seen, but.
Well, how about lack of
But
accountability?
clearly, it
Have
was
you
a
seen
big
that?
topic. So,
Have you seen lack of accountability in some relationships of where people just won't admit fault to things and like blames other people?
I think that's different from
No.
controlling, though. I've seen
Well,
a lot.
I'm not saying that as controlling. I'm just saying, have you seen that in relationships? Just lack of accountability. Like, I see that as a red flag. I see lack of accountability as a red flag.
Yes, but also I need to know what the control. It's like I haven't seen.
That was like back in.
That was like a lot
That
of
was a
middle
while
school as
ago.
well.
I think that was like freshman year when I really witnessed that. I don't know. It was just like very like like a how do I say this as vaguely as possible? Like he would want to hang out with us and then he would be like, well, if you can hang out with them, then you can hang out with me. And she's like, bro, like I haven't hung out with them in a while. And it's just like, I understand that's very hard to balance like your relationship. And actually I don't understand because I never dealt with that, but you know, like
But
it's
you can
hard
put
to
yourself in
balance
someone's
that.
shoes.
Yeah. But like to like you can really see like the influence that person has. You can tell the difference of when they're manipulative and when they're like chill, like, oh yeah, go have fun with your friends, you know? Oh my
There
gosh.
we go.
Oh my gosh.
Put a counter up. Put a counter up for how many times.
No,
he's left.
literally.
3 times.
I swear, okay, no, he's got to be doing this on purpose, right? Like
Perchance.
he's waiting
Perchance he
outside
may.
the door, right?
No. His
Yeah.
friends from the other side are calling.
He's got like a cup to the door with his ear on it so he can hear what's going on.
No, literally.
Is it my time? Oh my god. Well, I really like people as a green flag that have open communication. People who, because I think communication is so important and is the groundwork for a relationship. Oh, look who's back. You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
Sorry, the mother was going for target practice.
Warren Ball, bro.
Well, we were just
Um,
talking about open communication in relationships and how I find that as a green flag because I think that open communication is the groundwork for a relationship, and I think a lot of relationships, all relationships, should have open communication.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
you
know the
know,
person's intention.
I have seen though that like I feel like it would be so like it's so weird when I guess I'll say this in terms of like friendship, but like when you get into an argument and you need to have that communication and like I'm a very
Mhm.
like text in all caps LMAO type of person. So like when you have to lock in and use periods and commas,
oh no,
like it's
periods
very
scare the
weird.
hell out of me.
Yeah. And then also like I've heard from a lot of friends that like they're nervous when they get into a relationship, like what I guess like what they're gonna talk about and like if it'll be like a friendship because like with friends I feel like you can talk about anything, but then with your relationship like you can't be like, bro, I saw this fine shite walking down the street like to your boyfriend, you know?
Well, I don't think you should be
And that's
saying
what
that to
we
your
talk about,
friends
or like we
either.
talk about like
I don't think
random
you're supposed to be
people.
saying that to your friends either if
I-
you're in a relationship.
What? Oh, if you're in a
What?
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said if you're in a relationship. Yeah.
If
you're not,
you're in a
But
relationship.
that's just part of it. Yeah, I agree with that. Ideally, I feel like you can talk to your partner about everything except for that.
I mean,
Um,
ideally, but like, let's be real now.
You know what's
Life ain't
crazy? It's so
Speaking
crazy
of
that
let's
people
be
have done a
real
tier
now.
list of some people at our school. Have you heard of that? Like people doing tier lists of girls at our school. Yeah. Now that's
I've seen that.
crazy. That's crazy. That's
It's crazy to post it. I've seen posts. That's crazy.
Post?
I've almost. What?
really.
Yeah, posting is crazy. But speaking of let's be real, is it bad to have high standards?
Ooh.
I feel like there are some standards that you should have. I wouldn't
No, getting rid of the basics. Not, I mean, like high standards.
high
Like,
standards.
I-
I think that's also okay as well.
6'5",
if
finance, 400K. You know, 400K a year.
I mean, sure, if that's what you're looking for, then go get it. But if you can't get it, that's on you. I mean, that's all I've really got to say. If that's what you truly want, then go get it. That shoot, if I could find a wife that brings in 500K a year, shoot, I'd be cleaning, I'd be cooking, I'd be
Oh
doing
my
all
God.
that stuff. If I
But
could
is it
find
bad?
that stuff, I would
Is it
search
bad
for
to
it.
actively search for that? You know.
No.
And also, you can't complain. Be like, "Ugh, I can't find anyone. Like,
you
I
have
can't.
such
Like, I
low
can't.
standards,
And then
yeah.
like,
That's what I'm saying. Is high standards is fine until you make it other people's problems and then you start complaining about it. Like
yeah.
if you can find someone, great. But then sometimes reality is gonna hit you a little bit and make you lower it just a little bit. But I
Is
don't.
that a fruit salad?
Oh,
Jackson,
Is
is
that-
that a fruit
Jackson.
salad?
Oh, no.
What is
what
that?
is that?
Food?
Thanks.
Well, obviously, what food?
I don't know what it is.
Well,
Show the
show it.
camera. Show the camera.
Why
I'm
you
the consumer, not the
gatekeeping?
producer.
Stop
Why are you
gatekeeping.
I'm the
gatekeeping
consumer,
his
not the
food, bro?
producer.
Oh wow. That looks so good.
Wow.
saw
Never mind.
peppers
I
in
believe
there.
you. I don't know what the hell that is. Anyway, well, back to what we were talking about. I think it's worse to settle. I think it's worse to settle with somebody that you wouldn't be attracted to.
And that's a different thing. I if you have high standards, that's fine, but I think you should always settle for someone that you are happy with. I don't think you should ever settle with someone who you aren't happy with, because then you're just wasting both of your guys' time, because you're going into something that you don't think is going to work out. So I think
here's
Yeah, Naomi.
here's
Go
the
ahead.
real question. Okay, would you rather have to like be really close friends with someone who has like super super high standards and complains about it, or someone who's like, I'll date anybody and has like no standards and will like
high
throw
standards,
them.
high standards, high standards all day,
No,
high standards all
I-
day. Because people with really low standards, that means open to everybody, that means everybody. That means like
You're
Yeah,
talking
but
about yourself.
that means like hobos under bridges. If you're saying everything,
I'm thinking about this from a perspective of like being a friend. I'm not thinking of this as would I rather be a person with high standards or low standards, because I'd much rather be a person with high standards. But from a friend perspective, I'd rather
Well,
be
you know
friends with a
what?
person with really low
You'll be
standards.
you'll be hearing about it.
Because
I
I'd be
could-
sick of the complaining.
Yeah.
Okay, I could, you know what? I could switch my answer about that with all the
Yeah, I
complaining.
think it's
Yes,
different.
and
Whether
I
being a
think the
friend or
dude,
being
I think if my friend's a very nice person and can find a nice person, if he's open, I don't think that means he's just gonna take anybody. But like, if he's relatively open, I think he could still find a nice person, and I'd be fine with that. But like, if this dude is just like sweeping anybody off the street, like because I would have to hear about that.
I
Like
would not be
Goofy?
friends with that person.
That's
I
true.
wouldn't. Like,
And
I
now-
would rather be friends with that person, but I wouldn't be friends with that person. Like, I just don't think that happens.
I'm just thinking
There's no
about
way.
my friend and what I would create in my own imagination, being open as like just a nice guy that's just open and can find a nice girlfriend. If that's the reality, then yes, I would much rather have
Alright,
the open person.
Debate for the older people that potentially could watch this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Are the
Um,
relationships in high school genuine feelings or just vibes and hormones?
Ew.
I
Sorry.
think, like okay.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I think it could be both because there's situations where people have been dating since high school and are now married outside of high school. So I think it could be both. I don't think it's one umbrella term that's for everybody. I think it's there's certain people that are just doing it because of hormones, and then I think there are people that genuinely like that person, because I can't speak for everybody in the entire world that are in high school.
That's what I was trying to fight. There's a lot of people who just believe everybody in high school is just super immature and like, I don't think it's true. I think there are
No.
a lot of relationships I've seen are genuine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, to try and wrap this pretty soon, what is some advice you'd give your younger self? I'll start with Jackson. You've been in a relationship.
Oh.
How did that go for you? The most vague way possible.
I mean,
Oh, you've been in multiple relationships now, I think.
don't go into a relationship blind.
Blind in what sense?
Like not knowing who that person is. Also, don't go into relationships too fast. Get to know them like at least 2 months before you start even trying.
That's an
That
important
like
one.
solved everything. That solves literally everything.
That probably
And then-
does.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And then
'Cause a
also,
lot of problems start with just kids getting excited, and then we get excited, and then try to do something in a week, and then a month later you find out. But if you've been friends, sort of what Owen was saying before he left, if you've been friends for a while, that's the best way to get a relationship, because you already know a lot more about it.
yeah, you just don't want to be like too good of friends where it's like, oh yeah, I see you as my little brother. Kind of.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
That's just that's just like throw me into the Grand Canyon level. Bad.
That's crazy. Throw me into the Grand Canyon.
Would you rather get thrown into the Grand Canyon? Throw me in.
Just throw me in.
Thomas, like
Yes.
a piece of advice you give your 8th grade self or freshman self.
Get that dang
If
haircut.
you were going
Get
into
that
high school,
haircut. Get that haircut. You
Oh,
look
no.
chopped. You look chopped. Get that haircut. You will like it eventually. find the right hairstylist, go get a haircut that makes you happy, and get that dang haircut.
And then that way you find the huzz.
And now I'm way happier with myself. But another thing that I would recommend to my younger self is to not chase love so much, because there will be opportunities that will present itself. Even though it seems so impossible, it's gonna happen. There will be times where the time comes and you will be presented with opportunities, and I don't think you should be chasing and worrying about love so much. I think you should find the right group of friends. I think you should enjoy yourself more with your friends than you are searching, because once you start searching and searching and searching, not even searching, you're just blindly hoping. I think that just overconsumes you so much, and then you start to become disassociated with your own world, and now you're just living in your own. That's my opinion. That's just my advice I'd give to my younger self.
Yeah. Not chasing is
Not chasing.
not chasing can be valid. I agree with that. Looking for a relationship instead of looking for the right person can
That's
be
what
a big
that's what I'm saying,
a
is I'm
big
just
difference.
searching for a relationship, something that I think will make me happy. But
Just, I'm
relationships
lonely.
won't
I
just
want to
make you
feel
happy.
something.
Yeah, I want to feel
Yeah.
something. I want to feel something different. I want to
When
feel something
December
different.
hits,
Because I don't. Yeah, when
and you're
December
single for
hits,
Christmas, and then
you're at the
What
trough.
about you, Ether?
Naomi, to your freshman self.
What? He just asked you a question.
Wait, did he say something?
Jackson asked, "What about you, Arthur? What's your advice?"
Oh, you're gonna give this to me right away.
Yes.
I was also really thinking about the weight. Hold on, balance things. I mean, about the,
Really? Because it's like, dude, your schedule
wait,
is so packed as it is, bro. Like,
about
you trying to balance everything? You need to start with your
No.
schedule.
I mean, understand what you're committing to and who you're committing, and don't get into a relationship in less than a week. I think
can
that's
agree with that. Yeah.
I think that's the root of 90% of high school relationships, which end bad. It's
What
just
goes
like,
through your mind? Like what you what'd you do?
what did I do?
Yes. How do you get in a relationship in less than a week?
I mean, like,
Extreme skill.
if your
Okay.
if your talking stage lasts a week or less, you've done something wrong.
Mhm.
I think for almost everything you've done something. And then after that, understand what you're committing to, especially high school. Got our own lives and stuff. So understand that. Naomi, you got thoughts for your freshman?
I would just probably say don't be embarrassing, which is like really basic, but I've had like way too many instances where I stay up at night and I think about like something I said or like did to my not that sounds freaky, but like I oh my gosh. And like the fact like also when I told my friends about it and like I feel like they also added some embarrassing things. So I would maybe say like maybe it's just like the girl in me and who I am and who my friends are, where I always tell them everything that's going on. I would probably try to like not completely stray from that, but I would probably tell them a little bit less, and then I would just say think before you act. So I don't have to think back on so many embarrassing memories. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I also would say like you're in it for the adventure, which is very cringy, but like you know,
I mean, like, messing up and being embarrassed is part. It's just part of.
Oh yeah,
I-
but okay, you can be
yeah.
embarrassing, but there's some moments where I'm like that was unnecessary. Like there was
Yeah.
nothing good ever came from that, you
But
know?
then that builds character. That tells you what not to do in the future, and you learn from it. You gotta make mistakes so you can learn, because that's what shapes
Live,
a
laugh, love.
person.
You don't
Red,
know the
left,
mistakes
left.
I've made.
Okay, Joker, calm down. You know how I got these scars. No.
Apparently, I'm schizo. So
Okay.
It's common knowledge.
I wonder if you do embarrassing things and then don't get embarrassed about it. I'd rather be schizo. I'd rather be schizo than
You
embarrassed
would
about
rather
it.
be schizo. You
I wonder
clearly
why.
do. Oh my gosh. You are rather schizo. What do you mean?
I am rather schizo. At
least you accept it now.
And so, for some final thoughts, something which has been a debate, at least in my life for a while, is it worth dating in high school? Would you let your children date in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because
I guess, yeah.
as I said, that mistakes can't build a person, and if you aren't going, so if you date somebody, right? That's an experience that you get to learn. You get to learn that on your own. I'm a very you can make your own mistakes and learn from them, and that's how you can figure out what to do and what not to do again. So I think that I would let my child date because you can make some mistakes in a relationship, but if you're able to learn from them, I think that can build you up and make yourself a better person, because I'd be teaching my kids to learn from your mistakes. To not look at a mistake and go, I'm going to do that again.
Some would say that gives you a tendency to look at relationships, and it makes you too willing to mess up. Like some people, because if you get into like 3 relationships in high school and they end, like a lot of high school relationships, then some people would argue that like that makes you a little more about your relationships, because if you go into, a lot of people in high school go into relationships knowing that there's a high chance to end, and that could be a bad attitude. I've talked to a lot of people. Yeah, I know that, and I'm still here just to learn. I think that's crazy.
I wouldn't be teaching my kid.
I feel like I have a lot of that. I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't be teaching my kid to go into a relationship knowing it's going to end. I would say find somebody that you actually like, go into the relationship, and there will be bumps ahead, but you have to communicate and learn from mistakes that you will make. You will make mistakes. You are not a perfect person. You don't live in a perfect world. And relationships are far from perfect. But you can make the process easier if you communicate, you're truthful to yourself, and you can learn from your mistakes and be willing to take accountability for your own actions. And that's one of my green flags is accountability. You have to take accountability for what you do.
Ultimately,
I think I let my children date in high school. I think that's that's where I stand.
That's my consensus. Yeah, I would say yeah.
It's ultimately trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are just really
essentially
uncomfortable using trial and error in relationships. Some people think that that's like really bad, But I think that's just part of learning, and it's okay. I think in high school that's okay. If you go into a relationship, you learn some things together. I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what final thoughts do any?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Tell your ex to watch this.
Yes, that's what AI said.
Yes. Tell your ex to watch it. Tell your
video.
boyfriends, your girlfriends, your significant others.
Your exes.
Tell your
grandparents.
grandparents.
Your dog.
Your parents.
I said your grandparents.
Well, listen. You were nice to your parents. You said that you've seen every relationship you've seen has had behavior except for your parents.
I did not say that.
Quite literally what you said.
So
make sure you show this to your parents specifically to let them know that you approve of their relationship and it's not controlling whatsoever.
Wow. Okay.
With that, hopefully we'll get a collab with the child labor busters
Oh yeah.
soon. And potentially we'll make a Guess Who game out of a bunch of people that we know.
Oh
Heck
my
yeah.
gosh.
And we can play that. And that would be really cool. With that, we'll leave this episode where it stands in absolute cinema. Bye-bye.